to do this a while ago. So this is first Friday, and you know what that means? Pwede magtanong time. But before that, well, let's just make sure all of the systems are go. So this is the ROG PG49WCQ or something like that. The 49-inch OLED. All right. So, pwede magtanong. First Friday of the month. But before that, let us get the ad out of the way.
Sawa ka na ba sa unactivated Windows mo? Well, lucky you! Pinakabago mula sa cdkeyoffer.com. Windows 10 and Windows 11 activation codes. Legit, safe, at pinakamura. Madali lang umorder. Hanapin ang Windows version na gusto mo. Piliin ang preferred payment method. Wala pang 5 minutes, nagsiligi ka na para sa Windows mo. Marami na kaming natulungan.
Dati, sudden depressed ako. But now, I found the love of my life.
Dati, aimless and walang purpose ang life ko. But now, I'm a world-class Zumba instructor.
So, web developer ako and content creator for a YouTube channel. And ngayon, ganun pa rin ako pero activated na yung Windows ko.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com. Use our code HS20, and if this shirt looks familiar, you also saw it in the video on Rocky the Programmer, and some of this is still available, but limited na lang yung sizes. So, first Friday, pwede magtanong. Sup? I'm Gina, Brandon, Great Tower, Richard. All right, let's just jump into it. So, Pwede Magtanong is the show once a month where you can ask tech questions and I will try to answer them as much as I can. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes it's just me. Better when we have guests because they're more knowledgeable, but let's try to model along now. Thank you, Great Tower. Appreciate it. For everyone just tuning in, you might actually want to stop listening to this live stream and go check out the video we released yesterday kasi may malaking Christmas giveaway yung Hardware Sugar. It is like, nabanggit ko sa video, it is, I think, the most expensive giveaway I have seen for a local tech channel. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, pero from what I recall from the other giveaways and stuff, and then I go into bakit ang mahal nung giveaway. We didn't want to give something that expensive, pero napilitan kami in a good way. So definitely, check out that video. You don't want to miss that one. The one, our yung pinaka-latest natin na video, which dropped yesterday. Richard from Facebook, ano ba tingin ko sa Envision? I don't have a lot of experience with the brand, so we don't have any in the shop. We don't sell it. They haven't approached us to review, so we don't have a copy. And we haven't bought it for ourselves. So what I know is just yung naririnig ko sa iba. And what I hear is not so great. I mean, I understand the quality is okay. The image quality of the monitor is okay when you get it. Pero mabilis ata masira, or di naman mabilis, but the chances of it breaking down are higher than other brands. But again, I can't comment from experience. I've never had experience with Envision. Like a year ago, we did a video where we got the 3 cheapest gaming monitors on Lazada. Tapos yung mga brands nun, yung tipong Migo, I forget the brands, but it's in that video. And those naman were okay. Like actually the for what you got, they were good value for money. Pero yun nga, nabanggit ko rin sa video na yun, since the brands are medyo iffy, hindi ka sigurado kung yung i-order mo, yun rin talaga yung dadating. So it's like, ano, yung Envision, medyo sikat naman siya na brand. But sugal siya, is I guess how I would put it. If you're okay at a good price and you're, kind of rolling the dice a little bit, sure, why not? Although there are other alternatives now for that particular price point. Prism Plus, which we do have, we don't sell them. They're not an endorser, but they have sent us several review units, and okay naman sila. Yun, you can be sure like if you order a particular model, yun talaga yung dadating. And I understand okay rin naman yung warranty nila kasi um, they do have a local presence here. Sorry, I just want to jump to this a little bit. I don't. Yes, the final pitch. I haven't seen the TikTok. I've seen a reel or a short about it. I didn't get very far. It was an interesting experience. Um, so actually, the backstory, the idea I pitched there, we're already doing at Hardware Sugar. So I was just asking for money to use it to do it at scale. Yan yung second-hand parts list natin. Na yung yung kaibahan niya dun sa ibang second-hand marketplaces, hindi siya P2P. So, hindi siya person-to-person. You have to send your items to us, to Hardware Sugar, and then we take care of answering any questions. The buyer picks it up from us. So, it removes the inconvenience we tried to remove all of the pain points of dealing with second-hand parts. I didn't get very far, but an interesting experience. And then last na about that. So, like I had, like 2 weeks ago, I had recovered 2 weeks ago before shooting that. Actually, medyo matagal na yun eh. Yung shoot and then when it started finally coming out, um, I had just recovered from COVID like a week before that. And actually, my COVID experience, again, matagal na to. My COVID experience was pretty good. I had barely had any fever. I had appetite. I was even exercising like the last days of the exercising away from people in private. So yeah, my COVID experience was fine, but then I had to go on the show. I just recovered and I had to talk. Like I had to publicly pitch my idea. And so my voice is kind of loud already naturally. And you have to project, you have to show that you're confident and you have to be eloquent and things like that. So after that shoot, I lost my voice and it didn't come back for like 2 weeks, a month. And there are some live streams that I did from that period. You can tell na hirap pa rin boses ko. I lost my voice essentially because pinilit ko. Like I needed to speak for the show and sayang naman yung opportunity. So I spoke. I guess people could understand me naman. But I didn't get in. Pero good experience naman. Do you think it's best for all CPUs to have iGPU? Sean Flores from YouTube. Sup? I prefer my CPU not to have an iGPU. But I see what you're saying. It gives you flexibility. Like if you have a GPU, it breaks down. At least your CPU has a GPU and has onboard graphics so that you can troubleshoot. Pero yung sa akin, parang as a gamer, I will have a GPU already. So I want value for money. Kung alam ko naman talaga na bibili ako ng GPU, I most likely will not need onboard graphics on my CPU. I'm willing to take the risk that, I don't have a backup. In my years of computing, it's very rare na yung GPU talaga yung, that the thing that wrecks your build is the GPU. So personally, I'm willing to take the risk, and I would prefer my CPU not to have onboard graphics anymore. But companies actually are becoming more like you. Intel really has onboard graphics, and an AMD, which was sort of the parang baliktad ni Intel na kailangan mo siguraduhin na may onboard graphics siya. For the 7000 series, yung pinaka-latest nila, they have included onboard graphics already in most of their CPU models. So personally, I don't like it, but in general, the movement of the market is towards more to what you want na the default of a CPU is to have onboard graphics or an iGPU or an APU. I do admit I'm a little biased because in the back of my mind, sigurado naman ako na if my GPU fails, my rig is just off the screen here. May shop naman ako. I mean, I can borrow a GPU, not probably for gaming, but at least something to display and everything while we figure out what's wrong. So I do admit, but even then, even like years ago, wala pa naman yung shop and everything. I didn't feel the need to have a backup GPU, as it were. Sup, Kane, Shino, good evening, Van. Uh Thank you, Van. I love. I mean, it's always very pleasing to see comments like this. Na you learned about PC building, also from Great Tower. Dami ko po natutunan sa video about PC parts. I mean, that's really what we try to do. Both in the live stream. That's why pwede magtanong. We'll get to the more technical questions. And also like in the videos, we really try to explain PC parts in a non-technical manner. Like that's deliberate. 7800X3D. Yes, it's available. In fact, it's available at Hardware Sugar. Let me just check. I'm pretty sure we have it on stock. We had it before. So definitely available siya. Let me check if it's available with us. It is available with us. So this is a 7800X3D. So yep, definitely available. If the motherboard is the problem, pwede bang i-recover nun? Kasi wala akong pambili ng bago. Salamat. Um, Difficult, to be honest. Like, you're basically asking, can you repair the board? It is possible to repair the board, but you need to find somebody na magaling. Mas magaling kaysa sa amin. We don't offer board repair because that's literally you take the motherboard and you have to solder on a new piece if there's a transistor that failed or something along those lines. So it is technically possible, but on a practical level, mahirap siyang gawin. You need to find somebody that A, has that experience, and B, na may tiwala ka sa kanya that he knows what he's doing. So it's medyo mahirap, to be honest. UPS causing ground static on my PC. Do I need to replace it? I don't I don't know what you mean by ground. Oh, like when you touch your rig, you get grounded. Are we sure it's the UPS? You might want to just try making sure all the wires are properly, securely plugged in. If you're comfortable opening your computer, you want to make sure that those wires inside are plugged in properly dun sa motherboard, dun sa GPU. Baka mawala yung ground. And you also want to move the wires around. Sometimes kasi may basically ground is there's some electricity that's spilling out somewhere, and because the case is usually metal, it's conductive, dun ka naga-ground. But if you are able to remove the wire that's dumping excess current into the case, you can shunt it away from conducting parts, or the thing that if by properly securing all of the plugs, then no electricity gets dumped into the case where there shouldn't be. That sometimes solves the grounding problem. So not necessarily baka na UPS yung issue. Yes, please do check out our video yesterday where we talk about the gaming rig giveaway. Sup, Kevin Kraft, and thank you for being a YouTube member, and thank you for being a patron of the shop as well. I understand. I can't quite remember your build, but I remember seeing I remember seeing that there were some specs being talked about. The secondhand parts list. Like I want to come up with a different name for it, like Hardware Sugar Tiangge, Hardware Sugar Parts Marketplace, or something like that. But yeah, basically the secondhand parts list, it's just something we want to do. We don't make any money off it. We don't get any cut, no commission. But we really believe that secondhand parts are good value, and we're the only crazy PC shop that supports and encourages customers to buy secondhand. Because everything we sell is brand new. So of course you'd think na we want you to buy brand new, but a lot of the time secondhand is okay. I'll tell you a story. You know why there's a line here on the screen? I haven't posted about this yet on Facebook, but I will eventually. So this is not my usual monitor. If you've seen my live streams before, you know I have an underslung monitor. This is the same model, the Bank EX2780Q. But if you go to the other live streams, you notice na bago tong linya na to. And if the camera were focused here, you would actually see that these are multiple lines. On screen kasi hindi ganun kahalata. But here, these are actually multiple lines. And why are they on my monitor now? Yung kwento nito, a customer, like 2 years ago, bought the Bank EX2780Q from us, which is actually the exact same model I had as my primary monitor before, and then ginawa kong secondary monitor. And she had lines. This is actually that unit. So the customer was like, "Oh, is there any way we can get this replaced?" Pero 1 year lang yung warranty nung LCD screen of BenQ. So sorry, I keep saying Bank, but everybody else says BenQ. So I was like, the brand won't take it back. I don't fault the brand. They're just following their warranty terms. It's also outside of the shop warranty. So kung ibang shops to, wala na, sorry. Labas sa shop warranty, labas sa brand warranty. Wala na tayong magawa. But speaking about hardware sugar and about, still valuing secondhand parts, I had the exact same monitor. Yun nga, I used it for a long time as my primary monitor, and then I made it my secondary. Inisip ko, maganda pa naman yung monitor ko. There definitely no black lines like this. So I told the customer, the brand can't help you. No fault on the brand. The shop also technically can't help you, but I can help you. Hardware Sugar can help you. So I have an EX2780Q, my own personal EX2780Q. I will trade it. Yours is broken, yours has a line, but I only use it as a secondary monitor anyway. Para makatulong sa customer, I gave her my second hand, but still good. There was nothing wrong with it. I know because I was using it every day as a secondary monitor, and I got the monitor with the lines, with this visual. I can't be a weather newscaster. I can't follow my on screen. So I got her monitor, which had this line. It probably will fail somewhere down the line. Pero inisip ko, Hardware Sugar customer, and we really value all of our customers. I mean, parang sirang plaka ako dito, but it's really like anything we can do talaga for the customer, especially when it comes to warranty. Ito, labas na nga to sa warranty, but there was still something I could do. I have the exact same model. I don't need it for heavy lifting. It's not like it's my primary monitor. It's not like it's my gaming monitor. So I said, okay, I'll help you out. You get mine. It's secondhand, but perfectly still good. And I will get yours na medyo may linya na dito. Yeah. So we are a big believer in secondhand parts. That's why we have the secondhand parts list where we don't get any commission. And ako talaga, if I can use something secondhand, I will get it secondhand. And I don't mind na may there's there's a perpendicular line bisecting the monitor kasi secondary ko lang naman siya. I can completely use it fine as is. And the customer got back a monitor that didn't have that defect. I mean, there was no defect on the monitor that we replaced it with her. Of course, we were very upfront with her. This is secondhand, but it's still good. There's no more warranty on this kasi wala na ring warranty to. We will take this back and we'll use it na lang, for whatever use. So, yeah, big believer in secondhand. Even my Fitbit is secondhand. Daming stuff dito, secondhand. Sorry, I just got a little excited about secondhand parts, which is crazy. Yun nga. I mean, we're a shop. We want you to buy brand new, but secondhand, very good value. Brandon from YouTube, very timely question. Common issues kung ba't di nag-on yung PC. Di ko lang ginamit na 10 days ayaw na mag-on. Ang nagawa ko pa lang is tinanggal at binalik yung RAM. That is actually what I always do. The first time that there's a problem, like ayaw mag-boot up properly, palagi ko sinisisi yung RAM ko. Not so much anymore since I got a brand new build last year. Was that last year or just the start of this year? Can't quite remember anymore. But before, like when my build was old, I would have RAM palagi yung inisip ko. But it's very hard to determine just based on your description ano yung problema. Does it turn on? Like when you press the power, does it boot up? Do the lights turn on, or can you hear lumalabas ba yung BIOS screen? If not, most likely it's a PSU problem. Um, and then if it does boot up, but it doesn't, go all the way to Windows, um, I don't know, it could be a host of problems. It could be RAM, could be GPU, even motherboard failing, CPU. Although very rare to have a CPU problem in that context. But yun nga, tingnan mo muna, when you press the power button, does anything happen? If it appears to power up, but it doesn't boot up all the way, um, your PSU is probably okay. Maybe it's BIOS or something. Wait lang because I ordered Jollibee. Hang out, guys. I gotta pick up my Jollibee. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, now I gotta give this Jollibee to my kid because I am a solo parent this weekend. My wife is away on business, so the kids get Jollibee. Be back again in 2 minutes. We're back. I apologize for that very unprofessional cut. From Facebook, currently Ryzen 3, almost mga 6 years na din. Probably first gen, 1000 series. Recommended for mag-upgrade for gaming and video editing for office po. Nasa 30K po budget. Um, yung maganda sa Ryzen, you can go all the way up to Ryzen 5000. So, and it's such a good platform. Like I'm currently still on the AM4 platform, so that's the Ryzen 1000 to Ryzen 5000. If it's like 6 years, I assume that's like a 1000 series. Just jump up to something like the 5600X. So that's the Ryzen 5 5600X. Your motherboard probably will need a BIOS update, but it should support it most likely. But yung pinaka like if you want to see the best value for money, you can like spend more on the GPU than on the CPU. It's a little hard for me to give more specifics kasi I don't know the full specs of the build, pero and yun nga, how serious are you? Like, are you like gaming on the side, but more for editing and things like that? Kung video editing, you want probably 32 gigabytes of RAM. You probably don't have that in your rig now. Do you have an SSD? Maybe if built 6 years ago, baka walang SSD. SSD is the number one upgrade. Kung wala pang SSD, like everybody watching, kung wala pa kayong SSD sa computer, please get yourself an SSD kasi ang layo talaga ng quality of life improvement. Everything is so much faster with an SSD. Yeah, so hard for me to give specific hardware recommendations without knowing what the build is. But number one, if your computer still does not have an SSD, just get a small one just for the OS. Kung medyo tight yung budget, but you'll really feel the difference. From there, Ryzen, you can get like a very decent 5600 Or again, secondhand, you might want to get the Ryzen 7 3700X, which is a very good CPU. Even now, that's the one I'm using in mine. So you don't necessarily need to automatically upgrade to the latest gen of AM4. R7 3700X, very good. Save the money that you use, save yung na the money that you saved by going with the 3000 series CPU, you can put that to a more expensive GPU. So better for your gaming. First build, having a hard time deciding on which motherboard should I buy. I I like B550. So we have a common board that we recommend a lot, the B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi from MSI. Yung A520, I mean, especially if it's for gaming, yung things of 5600G, usually that's like a starter CPU, and then when the budget allows, you get yourself a GPU for gaming. And you just want to position yourself to be kind of mid-range. So you can get an A520, mas mura yun na motherboard. But it has less PCIe lanes. So generally, like the B550, the mid-range board is what we would recommend. So 5600G, B550M, so an M80X board. That's usually what we'd recommend. And to be specific, we would recommend the B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi, which apparently has good VRAMs, as researched by the guys in the shop. And we've sold a lot of them, and without any problems, actually. Like, medyo flawless pa nga ata yung motherboard na yan sa amin eh. Can't remember anyone having to send it back. Oh, sorry. So you did say no GPU plans. If like that's gonna be the build, yeah, go A520, no problem. Save yourself some money pa. Best GPU pair for Ryzen 5 3400G. I assume 1080p gaming. 1660 Super, AMD 6600 if you can still find it. 3050 not so great actually. So yeah, 1660 Super or thereabout, 6600 XT. You will experience some bottleneck, but again, as like somebody who every pwede magtanong and every live stream I do, somebody always asks me, ito CPU ko, anong ba ng GPU? And my answer is always, don't be afraid of bottleneck. Get the most expensive GPU that your budget can afford. Because kahit may bottleneck, malaki pa rin yung improvement sa gaming. Plus yung bottleneck, relative yan. Depends on the game, depends on the settings. So just to say na in general, bottleneck siya, that's true, but you might still be getting value for money from it. And again, that's something that I've done myself. Yung dati kong computer, Intel i5 4690K. Sobrang luma na nun. But I paired it with a 3080. And that allowed me to play games, Cyberpunk, the new games at the time, in acceptable frames and acceptable resolution for me. So the common advice is, bottleneck yan, and this is the best pairing. Para yung pagkain, tapos, yung pwede mo lang ma-pair sa chicken, white wine. Kung steak, dapat red wine. But hindi ganun sa CPU and GPU pairing. And even in the wine world, you don't have to be so hoity-toity about what you pair with your wines. I used to play Valheim with my friends during the pandemic. I have not tried Rust or Days. Valheim, they really got into it. My friends, I think like they can become super obsessed about the game. And it's sobrang naiwan ako. And they really got into the crafting and everything. And like at first I was competent at the game, and then they just evolved their character so much na ang layo na nung characters nila kaysa akin. So, but I still had fun tagging along. And actually let me just share our Valheim experience. I think it's a private video eh. Teka lang. I think this was from 2 years ago. Yeah, I didn't make it. All right. So we had a nice clip of us hunting a wolf, pero di ko na ata it's on private. Di siya ano. If you wala akong masabi. Best gaming CPU if you have an AM5. If you're thinking of an AM5 platform, you're a gamer. You don't need to go higher. You don't need to get the Ryzen 9s or something. 7800X3D is beautiful. I mean that extra cache. The 3D the 3D is the connotation from AMD na dinagdagan nila yung cache. So basically the CPU has access to more memory. And that really speeds up the instructions that it's processing. So the 5800X3D got great performance. 7800X3D same. Stop Rocky the Programmer. Yes, this is the ROG PG49 WCD 49-inch super ultra wide gaming monitor, 49 inches OLED. It is like they they sent it to me like mga 2 or 3 weeks ago. Ever since then, every game I've played. You notice kasi like ito yung primary ko. So this is my primary monitor. Nasa tabi yung ultra wide. What I do is I make this my primary monitor in Windows, and then I shift. So I put a keyboard here, and then I stick it in there, and then my mouse naman is wireless, so I just move it over there. So that becomes my gaming space. And so every game that I played ever since they sent this over for review has been on the ultra wide, because it is such a great experience. I mean, I my primary monitor is also from ROG PG48UQ, 48-inch OLED, beautiful monitor. I'm not ready to say yet that this is the new love of my life, pero ang ganda talaga nung kalako. It's crazy, man. I mean, I did a stream on it, so I play CS2 on it. It's in one of our streams, like a couple of streams back. I do not know what this is. Let me Sup Lance Edward from Facebook. Let me Google that super fast. Kuryu. Why? Anong controversy nito? Best value gaming monitor. Why? What's the T? It's super cheap. I don't know ano yung controversy about Kuryu. I haven't tried it myself, so I don't have any experience with it. Uh like kung 1440p na 27-incher or an ultra wide that's around 32 or 34, to be honest, like I would go with the 34-inch ultra wide over the 27-inch 1440p. Ultra wides in general are better for productivity. So I have 4 monitors in my setup, but even I can still appreciate like how many windows you can stack up here in a usable fashion. Yun nga, 48 inches yung primary monitor ko, but I usually only have 2 windows on it, primary browser screen and Viber. But itong with the 49-incher, which is roughly the same size as my primary, this one I can have 3 or 4 usable sized windows. So for productivity, a 34-inch ultra wide or larger is better. So if you're just talking about same panel quality, IPS or OLED, nano IPS, whatever, I would go with the ultra wide, all things being equal. I am doing okay. Life update. I am a single parent for this weekend. My wife is away on business. I now pity my 2 young children. And if you saw another video we did recently, where I say that my 3-year-old, she's my eldest, has no limit on her screen time. She can watch whatever she wants, however long she wants, whenever she wants. And does that make me a bad dad? Find out in the video, which is online now. Kapag magpapa-RMA ba sa EVGA, co-shared talaga? I don't know what co-shared means. But we do it. We also have another video. Like it's old. It's like 2 years ago. Ako personally, it was my EVGA PSU. It broke down, and I contacted them and arranged for it to get shipped to Taiwan. They sent it back to me. So me, like I didn't use the shop. So hindi siya through local distributors, through our contacts because of Hardware Sugar. It was just me, a regular customer, reaching out to EVGA, and the process was very good. And again, you can find that on our YouTube channel. I don't know what co-shared means. Sorry. I mean, in this context. None. I don't know if like uh they have a distributor here. Maybe we should ask Linus. I bought Samsung SSD 870 gigabyte for gaming po sana. Um, you might want to reinstall Windows. Kasi if like you had all of the games on one drive and then you stuck it onto another drive and stuck it in there and then kind of rearranged Windows, yung registry information ni Windows, I mean, they technically might still run, but there might be some files in the registry. Parang nahihirapan pa rin si Windows. So actually, we discourage this kind of thing na you have programs on one drive, you clone them to another drive, and then make them run again through the same installation of Windows. Try a fresh install of Windows and then reinstall your game. So basically, fresh install of Windows and a reinstall of the games, and then see if that helps. Tantan, what is your favorite thing when building rigs? Actually, I laugh. Not ano. I don't actually build rigs that often. I am not like 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 we have a tech channel, we have a PC shop, but I actually don't build a lot. Because the way I like to build is like you get medyo decent parts and you don't touch it anymore. There are a lot of frustrating things about builds that I can do them once every 2 years, and then I'm happy not to think about them for the next 2 or 3 years, like in cable management and things like that. So that's why I find the question funny. Na actually, instead of like, what's my favorite thing, it's like all that comes to mind are like the things that, oh, I'm glad I don't need to do this all the time. I'm glad I can go into the shop and look at actual professionals like our tech staff build, doing the builds. Because like ako personally, I love the tech, I love putting it together. But I don't feel the need to constantly tinker around with my build. Um, so my fave thing is for any build that I've done is like when you turn it on for the first time and it turns on. It seems like an incompetent thing to say, because if you were a competent person, a competent builder, malamang, maganda yung pagka-build mo. So pag on mo, it'll turn on. But that's not always, you can be like 100% competent, but you just forgot something, forgot to plug in something, or there's something really wrong with the hardware. So yung first boot talaga, there are memes about it online. Like, it doesn't matter if you built just one PC or 100 PCs, kinakabahan ka talaga that first time that you have to hit that power button. And so for me, that's my favorite part of building a rig, when it validates that one press of a button validates all of your previous work. Like, okay, I guess I dodged the bullet again, and I didn't wreck the I didn't wreck the NVMe SSD while I was trying to, finagle it into the slot. Or I mean, because there's a lot of physical labor involved in building, whether it's a big case, whether it's wrestling with parts kasi ang sobrang liit ng space kung ITX, getting bending the gosh darn like motherboard power connector, the 24-pin power connector. It's very physical, and sometimes you get heated with the parts that you're building with. Again, not the professionals at Hardware Sugar, just the idiot, meaning me, who who hosts videos for Hardware Sugar. But it can get really heated. Like, gosh darn, why don't you want to fit? And like, mineasure ko to, dapat mapasok ko to, pero ayaw. Ang daming like WTF moments when you're building. And all of the risks that you took are validated when you press that button and it turns on for the first time. Cable management, I have the worst cable management. Like, you should see the PC I have now. It's like that Homer Simpson meme na kala mo macho siya, and then you see a back, you see a rear angle shot, and it's just all covered by like clothespins and stuff. Parang ganun yung cable management ko. AIO versus air coolers. Most of the time walang aircon. For me, the ambient temperature doesn't matter because it's basically the same. The physics of it is that your PC will never be colder than your ambient. Basically, you're dumping the heat from the CPU into into the surrounding air, into the ambient. Whether it's an AIO or whether it is an air cooler, that's just the physics of it. So let's say you have an ambient temperature of 30 degrees. Your PC, your CPU can never be cooled below 30 degrees. So kalaban mo yung ambient. I mean, it's just the physics of the thing. And I mentioned that because both for air coolers and for AIOs, you're dumping into the ambient. I mean, it's the same ceiling limit regardless of what cooling technology you're using. So, like for me, the question is more about value for money. For me pa rin, value for money yung air coolers. Not to say that all AIOs need to be expensive, but generally you can find uh good performing air coolers at a cheaper price than good performing AIOs. Plus, there are less parts to break down in an air cooler. The tower will never break. So the passive radiating tower part that you stick on there into your CPU, hindi yan masisira. The fans most likely will never break also. I had a Noctua that lasted years. And even if you don't get Noctua, kahit masira yung fan mo, madali lang palitan. Super easy to slap on another fan onto an air cooler. For AIOs, yes, you have fans on the radiator, but you also have the pump system. And that's one you can get in trouble with the pump. Even if the pump is working, sometimes it will become noisy because air bubbles accumulate in the radiator and things like that. So, for me, it's like if it's a value for money question, air coolers are the same. Maintenance wise, value for money, air coolers get the nod from me. Maintenance, medyo pareho lang naman yung maintenance actually. I mentioned about the air bubbles. Sometimes it happens, but rarely. So, medyo patas lang sila. Medyo equal lang naman sila in terms of maintenance. You do need to clean the radiator of the AIO, just like you need to clean the tower occasionally of the air cooler. Although, to be honest, like me, I had my Noctua for years without cleaning and it worked just fine because it's Noctua. So maintenance for me is tie on that point. But for aesthetics, it's hard to beat AIO. It's really a cleaner look because you don't have that massive CPU cooler on top of your CPU. You don't have that massive tower. So it's a much cleaner look. Usually the radiator gives you a chance to slap in more RGB fans if you like that look. So I can see. And then now you can have a display on the CPU block of the AIO. So you can have GIFs there. You can have other images and things like that. So aesthetically, mas maganda tingnan yung AIO. But if the question is just like performance are basically you can find like equivalents. 360 mm rad versus an NHD 15. The 360 mm rad might be a bit cooler, but not by much. I mean, the big boy coolers, Dark Rock Pro 4. Now there's a 5, but we haven't tried it yet. AK620 from Deepcool, NHD 15 from Noctua. All of those are very good value for money. Although medyo mahal yung NHD 15 actually, the Noctuas. AK620 from Deepcool, yun, excellent value for money. Matagal na naming people have been expecting Noctua to come out with the next NHD line. So 15 na siya ngayon. Pero luma na yung 15. So they're thinking when is the 16 coming out? Yung nga, the DRP4 may Dark Rock Pro 5 na. Kakalabas lang. So in general, I think air coolers are still better value for money. And then on the aesthetic side, yung nga AIOs. But sometimes mas bagay sa rig eh. Like you're going for an industrial, kind of like very modular, blocky kind of aesthetic. Then like something like the Dark Rock Pro 4 would be pretty good. Sup, Christian Espinosa, YouTube member. Sup, Ochi. Ochi has bought a lot of stuff from the shop. Both in the recent time frame and in the past. Yeah. Sorry, let me just skip. The PG49WC, which is just on loan to me from Asus. But it is a very nice monitor. Best RGB application, wala. um, like you can like the major motherboard brands all have. So Asus has Aura Sync, MSI has Mystic Light, ASRock has Polychrome, and Gigabyte has Fusion. The problem is premium brands like NZXT and Corsair have their own software which won't interface with that. So you're left with really third-party stuff like OpenRGB, which the whole goal of OpenRGB is na kahit anong RGB component mo, mapapagana niya. Like you're able to control it through that software. I do not have any experience with OpenRGB, but I do want to make. It's actually one of my want to make videos. Na yeah, parang best RGB software. But on the mobile manufacturer side, it's not really their fault. Si NZXT tsaka si Corsair, both premium brands na they're like, oh well, you need to use our software. In for Corsair it's IQ and NZXT it is what's the NZX Cam and the Cam software. Yep. Water. Just water. Sup, Kaiser? Nice to see you again. Oh, this is a follow up. So, tested to plug the computer directly to the socket and to another AVR. It does not produce ground. There you go. Well, I guess by that process of elimination, it was the UPS. I'd be curious to see if it produces ground if other things are plugged in. Like you plug in a refrigerator into the UPS. Um, will it produce ground? But yeah, basically you've isolated the problem, and you might need to replace the UPS. Yes. Can you watch while we build? Yes, you can. But we just need to schedule it because sometimes you order a PC, but it's not the next PC in the queue. So you might need to come back like a day or two after when we are actually scheduled to build the PC. This is a good name. Yes, thank you for the Facebook Changge, like hardware sugar Changge type. Please message us on Facebook so we can properly quote for this build. Sup, JP Raynor? Hello, Vigilante Gaming. Thank you for being a YouTube member. Yeah, I mentioned nga na we did have actually so updated reviews of Prism Plus. One of the ports on one of the I think we have two Prism Plus monitors in the shop. I think one of the ports broke. And then when we researched it, apparently medyo sakit talaga yun ng Prism Plus. But I think naman their warranty is good. Sup, Adrian? $1060 GPU galing mining for 1.5 or RX 580 for 4,000. Um, if it was mined properly, you actually like they're undervolted. So, people think na galing sa mining, talagang bugbog yung GPU. That's technically true in the sense na they're running 24/7. But at the same time, in terms of wear and tear in the actual parts, aside from the fan that had to spin 24/7, the actual GPU might not be in that bad a shape if it was properly undervolted, which a competent miner, yan dapat ginawa nung miner. So like, ako personally, I would go with the 1060. For a lot of reasons, I prefer NVIDIA in general. Personally, for AMD card, for GPUs, the 1060 has an excellent reputation. Like it's one of those cards na, na like ayaw talagang mamatay because it's just so good even for relative maganda pa rin yung performance niya. In your scenario, it's cheaper. And like I'm personally not afraid of cards that came from mining. Like I have some old cards na galing sa mining, they still work now. So if it were me, I would go with the 1060 at 1,500. I don't see a problem with that. My PC has no AVR. My PC is directly plugged into the outlet. So, in your case, a USB extender, I should be fine. Two AMD GPUs, 5700 XT versus 6600. I'd go with the 5700 XT. Yeah. Sorry, the 5700 XT. Just because it doesn't necessarily mean na higher generation siya, mas mabilis siya compared to the older generation. In fact, a lot of the GPU reviews that we do, we point out na it's only an incremental improvement sometimes in terms of how fast it is compared to the previous gen. And in this case, yung 5700 XT was kind of the mid-range to upper end card of AMD for that particular cycle. Whereas yung 6600 was on the lower end of that cycle. So I would still go for the 5700 XT myself. And there are some like infamous examples like yung 4060 Ti ni Nvidia. I think if I recall correctly, there were some games na mas mabilis pa yung lumang generation compared to the 4060 Ti. So it was it's not hindi ibig sabihin na newer generation automatically mas mabilis na siya compared to the previous gens. Better upgrade from a 2060 Super, 7600, 3060 Ti, RTX 4060. Oh man, this is a hard one. Probably gonna get roasted in the comments. It's a tough call for me between the 3060 Ti and the 4060. I think actually the 3060 Ti edges out the 4060 in terms of raw performance, roughly. So kung pound for pound performance lang, I think mas mabilis yung 3060 Ti. Pero kasi with the 4060, you get DLSS 3, which is yung frame generation, which is pretty good. Full disclosure, Nvidia got us for a video like last month. They got us to talk about the 4060. So, taken in that context, somebody suspicious might say, well, of course he's saying that to get the 4060 because he got paid to say so. But I mean, that was just for one video. That was like 2 months ago. But frame generation, the kind of DLSS or the AI learning that they built, that they have enabled, the frame generation is legit. Like that, when we were testing the 4060, you saw significant improvement using frame gen. So I just want to make sure I'm kind of OC. I can't remember if frame gen is DLSS 3 or DLSS 2.5. Wait. Frame. Oh, yeah. Okay. DLSS 3 is frame generation. Yes. Okay. Kasi yung DLSS 3 is only available on 40 series cards, but yung DLSS 2.5, which is like lighting and stuff, like better lighting, AI upscaling, is available on the older cards. But the frame gen is only available on the 4000 series, and it was pretty good. So it's a tough call for me between the 3060 Ti and the 4060. I think the 4060 would be slightly cheaper, actually. Let me check. Yeah, the 4060 is actually cheaper. I mean, I went by Hardware Sugar prices, but even other stores, that's the more likely trend. You can find the 4060 for around 19,000. Good 1080p card, and it gives you frame gen. So I don't know if you want to save a few bucks and get the latest frame, DLSS possible, which does have a significant impact for your gaming performance. The 4060 is a good choice. I don't know, still torn between 4060 and 3060 Ti. It was actually 8-piece Chicken Joy. I had to get 4. Yung order ko 4 pieces, then dalawang orders noon because my kids really love Chicken Joy. I actually love it when Kaiser is in chat, so you can, and then I like having my answers validated. To be honest, I don't usually look at chat before I answer. But then when Kaiser agrees with me, I feel like a little validated because Kaiser knows his stuff. Although in this case, Kaiser was like 5700 XT is faster pero maraming issues. So maybe get the 6600 instead. I completely agree. Um, when we sold the 5,000 cards of AMD, they were a big headache explaining to customers that it's not really the card, so it's not covered by warranty, it's a software. Although I would still go with the 5700 XT, like my earlier answer, just because it is slightly faster. And just because I hope that AMD has finally figured out the drivers by now. This is a follow up to the previous one. Baka nga PSU. Sup, Luigi Wilwaco? Sorry, I only got your message now. Hope you're still watching. I think your cousin had a problem again about the monitor. Um, like I was, making kwento about this monitor. I think your cousin had another problem with the monitor that he also got from us. I'm not sure if he's your cousin because he has the same last name as you, somewhere in his name. So, but yeah, somebody also messaged us recently about a monitor. Talaga ba mainit ang R5 5th gen series? They run hot, yes. Um, the 5000 series does run hot, but that's by design. So AMD basically said don't freak out about it. Especially like the higher end models, 5900, 5950X, they run pretty hot. Because the thing at the time was na the computer was trying to figure out dynamically how much faster it could get. So it was kung kaya pa ng cooling mo, it would run faster and generate more heat. And then it would throttle back down depending on if it started to get too close to too hot temperatures. So running hot is really by design. The Ryzen 5 though, I mean that's kind of like the mid-range tier of the CPUs. I wouldn't think that they run that hot. But me, I don't mind because like my tolerance for hot. Basically, I'm like my thinking is that the components are meant to run hot and they're meant to run hot for a long time. Yung mismo yung manufacturers na nagsabi nun. So like when people are like, "Oh, I have 68 degrees on idle," I'm like, "Oh, who cares?" 80 degrees on load. 80 degrees on load is fine. I mean, for Ryzen. So personally, I don't get freaked out too much by temperatures. It's only like when they hit like 100, it's like I'm like, okay, well, teka lang, there might be something wrong here, like either with my cooling or the CPU or something. But I am generally tolerant of temps that other people would find to be too hot. Um, but short answer, yes, the 5000 series does run a bit hot. That is by design. You can actually get it for 19. Like we have a 4060 18,600 like currently available now. I think that if you're getting a new GPU like for a new rig, the 4060 is attractive. It got a lot of bad publicity when it came out. But it is faster than a 3060. You do get the latest bells and whistles. And at 19,000 pesos for a brand new one, I think it's pretty good if you're into 1080p gaming. Mid-range gaming rig, 4060, kind of a no-brainer for me. A lot of the hate came kasi na, the price was a little high, plus it wasn't that much faster compared to the 3060. But I think like it's a sure like 20% or so roughly faster. We have a whole video explaining why these rough numbers, they come with a lot of caveats. But roughly, the 4060 is clearly faster than the 3060. It is also cheaper, and it gives you DLSS 3. So I think it is well positioned. I might get a lot of hate for that because a lot of people got upset with Nvidia when the 4060 came out. But where it is on the market right now, and for the performance that you can expect from it, and the added benefit again of frame gen, DLSS 3 is legit. It's a pretty good card. Can you get like better price to performance from AMD? Yes, you can, but then you don't have also DLSS 3. Does that matter for the games that you're playing? It depends. Some games don't. It depends on the games that you're playing. So again, there are a lot of caveats there and stuff. Oh, sorry. Let me just skip to Jerome Flores. I tried an Asus PG27A QDM, so that review is also on the channel. That's a good monitor. Like talagang OLED. Damn. I mean OLED crazy. Should you wait? The OLEDs now are already pretty good. So like for context, my primary monitor is from last year. It's a PG48UQ. This is a brand new monitor, the PG49. So it's basically like this is your question. Like this illustrates your question. Side by side, I love this ultra wide monitor, but the picture quality is maybe slightly better. I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's not that big of like OLED then and now. Like if you get the one available now versus the one that's coming out probably, there won't be that big of a difference. So like if you're gonna enjoy it right away, like you have a bunch of games that you want to play in OLED, you have the budget now. There's really no reason to wait except if you're thinking, oh, baka mas maganda. That reason can be applied to any year that you buy. And I'm not expect there aren't any like big leaps expected in terms of OLEDs. So the ones that you can get now, whether from LG or Asus, yun nga, PG27A QDM, which I have tried, is very good both for video and for games. Um, so I would buy it now. And this is from someone who has last year's model right in front of me versus this year's model right in front of me. The format is different, ultra wide versus my kind of like TV style large screen, but the actual picture quality is they're very comparable. Should I have waited for the ultra wide over this one? That's more like of a format question rather than like an actual critique of the display. Definitely not. Nakakasira po ba talaga ng PC yung multiple display? As mentioned, I have 4 displays here. You can only see 2 now, but I have my primary in front of me. Then I have one in portrait mode in front of me for chat. So I have 4 monitors. I've been running even before this. My PC setup had multiple monitors. 2, actually, it's like a drug. You think, oh, one, you have a primary monitor, 1, then you add 2. You're like, wow, I'm super productive with 2. I don't need any more. And you're like, oh, can we put 3? Yung third just for chat lang, naka-portrait. And you're like, siguro after 3, okay na. And you're like, oh, I have an old TV. Because when Asus, usually nandito yung lumang TV ko when Asus is not, crazy sending us crazy monitors like this. And so like, 3, okay na. But like, oh, may luma ako monitor. May luma ako TV. Wala namang ginagawa. Saksak ko kaya rin sa computer ko. It's like, it's a drug. Every monitor you get, it's like, oh, I'm super productive now. Then you're like, oh, like I can use more monitors. But no, I mean, more monitors the better. They will not hurt your PC in any way. Yeah. Yeah, generally the M.2 hindi ibig sabihin na M.2 mas mabilis siya. You need the NVMe. But in general, yes. I assume yung 1 TB SSD SATA. So in general, yes. Usually if it's M.2, that just means the format or the size. But usually kung naka M.2, NVMe na yon, which is the fastest type of SSD. So you do want that one to be the one running the OS. The SATA SSDs are still pretty fast compared to hard drives, but they're not as fast as an NVMe SSD. So assuming that the 240 gig M.2 is an NVMe, yes, you want your OS on that, and then just use the 1 TB for your files and things. We are selling through our discounted parts list, which you can see in the video link below. Sup, Leah Magnaye? It was like a lot of people make YouTube channels because it's their passion. They want to become an influencer. I mean, legit, right, guys? I mean, that's a consideration that a lot of people have. For me, it was just I needed free marketing for the shop. We're still a one location shop. We're a small shop. And even from the beginning, like customer service, we were getting high marks. We've always been very fanatical about customer service. Yung no BS warranty namin from day one, yan na yung policy namin. But the thing about the market is, people will always tell you, I want a shop na di ka papahirapan with warranty. I want a shop na yun nga, parang I saw a question earlier, hindi ko lang nasagot na what I think about shops that don't bother to educate their customers. And so people, they say they want that to for the shop to explain to them why you want this build and why you want it like this. Um, People always say that, but for like 2 years, we were doing that, and we were getting sales, we were getting bigger, but it was really a struggle to compete against the larger shops. I mean, there are larger, more well-funded operations out there, and they can really compete on price. Yan yung number one thing nung Filipino customer. It's like, they'll just go with the cheapest available option. That is fine. That's a legitimate way to choose where you spend your money. But it doesn't help out shops like ours where we can't compete on price because we don't have the volume. We can't go to a supplier and say, oh, I want to buy 50 GPUs. So, syempre, may discount yun. Wala kaming ganun. So, we tried to compete on other things, but I felt it was really a struggle. So, we started the YouTube channel as free marketing for the shop. And I'm very upfront that while we do videos, actually, we do a lot of videos that are not favorable to the shop. We have we have Price Watch where we actually compare the prices. And sometimes our prices are more expensive. I mean, that's just the way the market works. We don't have nga that volume discount. Or we say that it's actually okay to buy from Amazon. I mean, we do a lot of videos that are not necessarily like pushing people to the shop. But at the end of the day, Hardware Sugar, the channel, is really there to support Hardware Sugar, the shop. And that's really how I started my YouTube journey, out of necessity. I was desperate for marketing. We didn't have a marketing budget. We still don't have a marketing budget. But YouTube allowed us to have free marketing. And we were just plugging away for a long time. We were making videos. They were getting some traction. I remember we were at like 500 subs, 600 subs. I'm like, wow, this is a lot now. When we reached 1,000 subs, inisip ko, damn, this is a lot. Like, I never anticipate, kasi inisip ko lang libreng marketing. Kung may makakita, and out of 100 people, 500 people, maybe one or two will come to the shop, di sulit na, di ba? Parang that was like, all I needed to expend was my time and my dignity. Because, unlike people of the younger generation, I don't really, di ko naman hinahanap to become like slightly, like, I don't even want to say it, but like an influencer or something. Di ko talaga hinahanap yun. So I was a little hesitant about appearing on camera. Not to say that I'm shy about public speaking. I'm okay with that. If you know my background, you kind of guess that I'd be okay with that. But just putting myself out there on a regular basis on a platform that you can find me on, that's not really something that I was looking forward to. And yeah, I just really did it because I wanted like anything we can do to get the shop to succeed. And it's still kind of rocky, to be honest. I mean, we have a lot of debts from the shop, but we've managed to grow it. Hopefully soon we can expand to another location and, just keep building on our success. And the YouTube channel has been a big part of that. But I started my particular journey out of necessity for the shop. I shared you my ideas, Tia Magnaye, that food one, the cooking one, patok yun. I swear. Sup, Andy? Okay, sorry, I'm just skipping along here because this is what happens with Puwede Magtanong. I like engage with the first questions and then like I forget, it's hard to keep up with all the questions. But I did remember that I need to show the ad again, and I'll see you after the break.
Sawa ka na ba sa unactivated Windows mo? Well, lucky you! Pinakabago mula sa cdkeyoffer.com. Windows 10 and Windows 11 activation codes. Legit, safe, at pinakamura. Madali lang umorder. Hanapin ang Windows version na gusto mo. Piliin ang preferred payment method. Wala pang 5 minutes, nag-CDK ka na para sa Windows mo. Marami na kaming natulungan.
Dati, second depressed ako. But now, I found the love of my life.
Dati, aimless and walang purpose ang life ko. But now, I'm a world-class Zumba instructor.
So, web developer ako and content creator for a YouTube channel. And ngayon, ganun pa rin ako pero activated na yung Windows ko.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com. Discount code HS20. Worth upgrade 3600 to 5700X for productivity. Yeah, I'd say so. And like for games like NBA 2K, I'd say that's a legit upgrade. Like you'd see performance, like you'd see a uptick in performance, like a measurable increase in performance. Playing AAA games, 1080p max settings, 3070. Although it was brought to my attention by a guy, one of our tech guys, na 3070 is actually not that great value for money na. 4060 Ti is better value for money. With a 40, thereabouts, 3070, 4060 Ti, you're getting very good 1080p performance, excellent 1080p performance, and then you're even shading into 2K. IPS. Can't go back to VA. Yes, that might be a problem with your AIO. id cooling we used to have before in the shop. They were okay naman. Actually, we didn't have a lot of returns on them. But I hear like our tech guys are negative on id cooling. Like they've seen a lot of other people bringing them into the shop with problems and things like that. So kind of iffy. I mean, they are well priced. And yun nga, our personal experience with them wasn't that bad. But what we've seen from when people bring in their rigs and some of them have id cooling coolers, not so great. Amen. I think my last EVGA GPU was like a 960 or something, or one of the nines of NVIDIA. But yeah, it's a shame that they got out of the space. And basically, because they were like, NVIDIA mistreated us. Like, we're a third party AIB, but yeah, NVIDIA like just wouldn't coordinate with us and things like that. So it's kind of sucks that we lost a brand, a well regarded brand in that space. This is an interesting question, and I do not know. Like, I have very little knowledge about like proper recording equipment. We do have some customers who are musicians or pursue it as a hobby, like very passionately. But I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not the best guy to talk about this. But I bring up the question just in case somebody like sees it and then comments on it, and also because like I really like being upfront na like, oh, this question I don't know. Like we really try to be as honest as possible na like we won't BS you, like no BS warranty and also no BS advice. If we don't know, we will say we don't know. Other question, nasira mobile ko, then PSU, so nagpalit ako to Cooler Master 650 and gigabyte, B550AM, yep. At ngayon po, so there's a follow-up, and then it was, okay. So it's a question on what should he upgrade first. Either CPU or GPU. Video editing, programming to the upgrade the CPU first. The GPU doesn't do a lot of load for the things that you're doing. So CPU would be better. You'll see more improvement with updating the CPU. But madaling masira ang mechanical keyboard? Are they more prone to failures? I haven't, like, we don't carry a lot of peripherals in the shop, but when we do, I haven't seen an uptick like, oh, this particular keyboard type gets sent back more easily. Maybe it depends on the brand. Like, I have a mechanical keyboard. This has been going for years. Although it's a very unfashionable keyboard now. This was before like naging super uso yung customizations and things like that. Like I have very little idea about the space the keyboard space when it comes to customizations. But I like my keyboards loud, and I've always liked the mechanical. So this is a DAS keyboard. Like yun nga, sobrang luma na nito, but it still works. So I wouldn't necessarily say na just because mechanical keyboard, mabilis siya masira. Sup, Edge? Sup, Neo Rain, who I agree with on the CPU advice. Oh, sup, ITX Addict. Sup, Cesar. Uh-oh, I see somebody in the background. This is usually where I have to end my stream. Nope, here she comes. Here she comes. AJ?
Daddy,
Yes? Did you have dinner?
I did.
Okay, baby girl, I'm streaming. Should we end the stream? Oh,
Oh, tissue.
that oh man, that dog stinks. Get the tissue. It's over there. There on the table.
Oh, you get it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Just don't do it for the camera.
Yes, baby girl. Everybody, okay. All right, so this is usually the point where I end my streams, but I will just do a bit more.
Or
That needs to be on. Sup, ITX Addict. I'm just borrowing this OLED, so I don't really care about this one. Ay, naku, ikaw. All right, let me just... We'll try Edge.
No.
Yes, we do. I've been thinking... I've been thinking about doing that. Like, I actually want, like, regular stream of our builds. Yung problema, mahirap to... It's hard to set up a camera. Like, we need to have a proper camera operator so that you can actually see inside the build. Kung nakatapat lang, I'm gonna need to filter out. I'll run an AI thing to filter your voice. Nobody has asked, like, should you become a parent? And the answer is no. No, just kidding, Sadie Bear. We can try to we could maybe set something up, and I've been wanting to do this actually with more builds. Pero yung problema is, it takes up a lot of staff time because we need somebody else to run the camera for the build stream. Plus, if we streamed it, then you'd be able to see us like dropping parts and stuff, which the customer won't like. Okay, here we go. Ay, nako, ikaw. All right, say bye-bye to the camera. Okay, sorry guys, I couldn't get to most of the videos. Sorry, the later questions. But thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Puwede Magtanong. We'll probably do You're supposed to have a review of the 540 hertz ROG monitor, which is crazy. But we're still doing some edits on it, so that'll come out Monday. So Saturday and Sunday will probably be game streams with the PG 49WCQ. I think that's right. All right, say bye-bye, CG girl.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wave to the camera. CG, why are you always interrupting my ano? Bye, guys.
You call little games.
Here, you have a question from chat. Honey Jobs ask, what is your favorite show?
Paper life.
Paper Light? I don't know that show. No, is it Coco Bee, Peppa Pig, Masha,
Cuckoo bee.
Coco Bee? Okay, there you go. We do have a video about that too. Bye.
Bye.
I do hear about this number blocks a lot.
You block.
All right, here we go. End stream.